Hi guys. I am going to a pretty interesting event tonight which has inspired this video. I am going to an evening with Samantha Shannon, who is the author of the Bone season. She has just released the song Rising, at least here in the UK it's only just released. And so she's doing a bit of a question and answer session, signings and meet and greet kind of thing in my local Waterstones. So I'm going, and I've bought my boyfriend a ticket even though he knows nothing about this series. I bought him one anyways because he's very interested in reading as well. He wants to write his own book, he's very interested in being an author, so I thought maybe some of the things she'd say would be useful to him, and I didn't want to go on my own, so and it was pretty cheap. So yeah, I'm meeting the author of this series. This is a fantasy young adult slash kind of like adult, because in the UK it is actually considered an adult series, even though every American I've seen talk about it says it's young adult, so it's kind of in that middle grey area. It's fantasy and it is dystopian all in one, and it has a really interesting magic system in it. I like this series. Obviously I've bought both the books and I'm going to meet the author, and there's another book coming out that I'm excited to get. I gave them both 4 stars, I think. Yes, I did. Gave them both 4 stars. I'm not going to like go on Goodreads and check. So yeah, I'm excited about that. And so since I'm doing that tonight, I decided to make my authors I want to meet video. I was going to make this a top 5, but I kind of struggled with the 5th place. I had 3 kind of joint 5th places, so I'm just going to kind of talk about those 3 quickly and then probably go a bit more in depth with the rest of the list. So in my 5th place of 3 authors, one of them is Sarah J Maas. She is the author of Throne of Glass and Court of Thorns and Roses, both these series. I mainly want to meet her for this series. I liked Throne of Glass and I liked Crown of Midnight, and they are both 5-star reads for me. I read The Assassin's Blade and it was half or half 5 depending on which story it was in the book that I was reading, and I read Heir of Fire and I gave that 4. Now that I think about it, it might be more of a 3. Like, Heir of Fire was not my favourite, but I gave 5 stars to both A Court of Thorns and Roses and A Court of Mist and Fury. A Court of Mist and Fury is everything to me right now. I am obsessed. I cannot wait for the next book in this series, so I would love to talk to her about this series, maybe a little bit about this, but yeah, I would love to be at a session about this. Next is a UK author, I believe, and one that I don't really hear getting spoken about a lot, but I have spoken about quite a bit on this channel, and that is Emma Pass. She wrote Acid and she wrote The Fearless, and these are both standalones. They're both dystopian, but in kind of different ways. This is where there is a super police called Acid, and they literally police your entire life. And this is The Fearless, where there is oh goodness, I think it's like it was a treatment for something that made it was a treatment for soldiers, and it made them into the Fearless, where they basically just lose all their emotions and they just become killing machines. I loved both of these. She's great at writing action-packed books. I absolutely flew through both of these. I think they're both 5-star reads for me. Yes. The next one is an author of a series that I talk about a lot as well. I don't think it gets talked about much on BookTube. I saw someone talk about it and I told them to read it, and they said they might do because they're in a sci-fi kick. I really wish I could remember that right now, but it was another BookTuber. Yeah, anyways, and that is the Sky Chasers series, Amy Kathleen Ryan. I would love to meet her and talk about this series because I love it. This is a sci-fi, as I say. It's kind of dystopia-ish, but it's not really. Like, I think it gets plonked in the dystopian category because it came out when everything was dystopian. But it's really a lot more sci-fi. It's literally set in space. The people do not leave space in this entire book. That's not a spoiler, I don't think. Sorry. No, but this, to me, this is more about being morally grey and figuring out for yourself what is right and what is wrong, and it is done beautifully. I think every single character has to go through a struggle to realise what is right and what is wrong to them. And it's got a lot of talk about religion, and it's got a lot of that, because they're a grown-up and they're older than you, does that mean they're right? Or does that mean they're wrong? And it's very interesting, and it's, again, quite action-packed. It's got good characters, and I just loved this for the fact that everyone was good and evil all at once. There was no set perfect characters for either side until like you got more to the end, and then you kind of saw everyone's true colours, if you see what I mean. Read this. It's a trilogy. Read it. Anyways, next is actually my number 4. Even though I haven't read this person's entire series because the last book is not out in the format that I want it in yet. It's only out in hardcover, and I don't buy hardcovers really unless they're really cheap, and I certainly do not buy hardcovers when I've got the first 2 in paperback. And that is Erika Johansson. I want to meet her because she wrote The Queen of the Tearling, The Fate of the Tearling. I love both of these books. 5 stars. I'm obsessed. This seems to be quite a polarising series. I think it's because there's a lot going on and it's very political, and I think that a lot of people just aren't up for that. They want their fantasy to be like high fantasy, you know, dragons and wizards and things, and this just isn't that. It is fantasy, but it is dystopia as well, but it's not generic dystopia. It's not generic fantasy either. It's a very unique book, and I want to tell you everything about it, but I don't because that would be spoilers, obviously. But I really recommend this series. I am loving it. I'm so excited for The Fate of the Tearling. Did I call the second book The Fate of the Tearling? It's The Invasion of the Tearling. I loved it. I read it. I like the characters. There is rumours that this is going to be a movie starring Emma Watson. I hope not. If this is going to be a movie, please cast someone that I can stand. That sounds really horrible, but let's just say I've avoided talking about Beauty and the Beast for a reason. And yes, I want to meet Erika Johansson and just ask her everything about this world and these characters. I need to know everything about Kelsey. I cannot wait till the 3rd book comes out because I want it to give me all my answers. I'm excited. Well, it's out in hardback. I can't wait for it to come out in paperback because I can't bring myself to have the 3rd book in hard. Moving on to my number 3 pick, which probably isn't surprising recently on this channel, and that is Marissa Meyer. I have Heartless and I haven't even read it yet, but the Lunar Chronicles, I became obsessed last year. This series, I marathoned it and I read it so much quicker than I thought I was gonna. I thought winter would take me a good chunk of time, and I read it in, I don't think it was a week, about a week I'm gonna say, and I was like, oh, that's it, it's the end. Then I got Stars Above and I read that, and I really enjoyed it. Maybe not quite as much, but I'm not that much of a novella person. I'm not that much of a short story person. I like to have a full nice chunk of a book, you know, giving me everything. The first book, Cinder, is my favourite because my favourite characters are Cinder and Kai, which seems to be not that popular of an opinion. A lot of people don't like Cinder, but I don't understand you people. This is my favourite of the entire series, but I loved it every time that it developed and we met more of these characters. I just fell in love with each and every single one of them. There's a graphic novel called Wires and Nerve that is about Aiko, I think, and I am excited. I want that in my life. Yeah, and I can't wait to read Heartless. I got this like as soon as it came out because I was desperate for it, and I haven't got around to it yet because I have to read books in the order that I bought them, and I've been slumpy, and I blame what is it called? That's How Much I Enjoyed It. Ice Like Fire, which I say that's how much I enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars, it was okay, but it put me in a major slump. Anyways, off topic. The next author I chose, I have quite a lot to show from this author in different ways, and that is Melissa Meyer. No, Melissa Meyer. Oh my god, it's because I just said Marissa Meyer. it gets confusing. These two names are so alike. Melissa Ma, the lady behind the Wicked Lovely universe, everything. I have all the Wicked Lovely books. I have Fairy Tales and Nightmares, which is like novellas and short stories. I have the manga. I have all of these. I've read them all. I have the actual written story of said manga. I have Graveminder, which I believe is this adult standalone. I've only read this one and I haven't gone out to find a sequel. This is probably my least favourite of her books. I'm just not sure if I was in the right place to read this when I did. I read this when I was quite a bit younger and I feel like maybe I wasn't quite ready for adult. And Made for You, and I really enjoyed this. This is like a murder mystery kind of thing. Thriller, that's the thing I'm looking for. But yeah, the Wicked Lovely, this is what I've been wanting to talk to about. Mainly this Wicked Lovely world. Like, the Desert Tales was fun, but the actual Wicked Lovely series, I want to reread this so badly. And I was actually talking to Pages and Pens because she wants to reread it so badly so that she can actually read the last book. I think last two books actually, I think she's got 2 left to read. But I've been meaning to reread this since I started my channel. And I buy too many books and I don't really reread a lot anymore. I used to reread all the time when I was younger. Probably because I couldn't afford any new books. But I want to reread this series so badly because I was obsessed with it. I loved it and I still believe that I will love it now. And I seem to have, again, controversial opinions on this because a lot of people kind of liked the first book and then went off it, whereas I just absolutely loved everything. The weakest book is probably the third one, which I do agree. A lot of people say that one's a bit and I get it, but I still give it 5 stars and loved it. So yes, I would love to meet Melissa Ma and talk to her all about the courts and the politics and some of the choices that she made within the series. Obviously I don't want to spoil it for people, but I love her Wicked Lovely universe, everything. And my number 1 ultimate pick is technically not an author, but is because, you know, they make stories. It's a manga artist. I'm sure if you've been on my channel and seen me talk about manga at all, that you know who I'm going to mention. And I have a nice chunk of these. I think every series but one, and that's because it's literally not complete yet, of what I have here is complete. And I think these are all the ones you can get in the UK. I'm not sure any of her other series are actually available in the UK just yet. But that is Yu Watase. I love her. Her art style is beautiful. So she is the author of Imadoki, which is like a high school drama. It's very cutesy. She did Ceres, which is a horror, but I wouldn't really say it's horror, but it's quite fantasy, but it's a horror for her, I guess. Errata, which is another fantasy series, and it's kind of got contemporary elements in there because there's 2 worlds. Like you get shown bits from the 2 worlds. Try again, Vicky. Alice 19th, which is another fantasy story. She likes her fantasies and I love her for it. Absolute Boyfriend, which is a contemporary, but it's a crazy contemporary and it's adorable. Everything she does is adorable and lovable. And of course, the big thing, the Fushigi Yugi everything. She is currently writing a story about the priestess of Bayako and I am ready. I need it. Hurry up and bring it to the UK. I cannot wait. I would love to just... even though I don't know if she can even speak English and I definitely can't speak Japanese, so we probably wouldn't be able to have a very fluent conversation. I would love for us to instantly know one of each of us languages and to talk about everything for Fushigi Yugi. I'd love to talk about these series as well. Like I've read, I mean, you can see by the state of the spines of some of these books that I've read her series a lot. I mean, this is the first volume of Fushigi Yugi and it's absolutely destroyed. Like, when I first got these books, I reread every book in anticipation of getting the next one. So if I was just about to get book 7, I would read 1 through to 6 and then 7. I know a lot about these. I have the DVDs. I just love these stories, and I love her art style. It's so adorable. And my first ever fictional husband was given to me through these. Let's see if I can get a picture of him for you. And that is the Emperor Hotohori. I just love him. And his story develops so beautifully throughout this series. This series is 18 books long, which actually isn't really that bad when you think about it for manga, but it's worth it. It is worth it. Here he is. Right, oh my god, this book's like, I feel like it's falling apart a little bit. It's so old and battered, but here he is, my first ever fictional husband. And I just love these characters. And I love Tokiko. She's my favourite priestess, even though she's not in the main story. I love Tokiko so much. I just love Uwatase. I love her art style. I'll pick a book that's not as battered as that first edition. Oh, this one is kind of a bit battered as well. I think I did some rereadings of this one as well. I want to find one of her chapter pages. It's probably better to choose it in errata. This is her most recent series, at least for the UK, that is ongoing. But like her chapter pages, I just think they're gorgeous, and I think her art style is so cute and adorable. And I've tried to draw like this. I can't draw. I can kind of draw more anime than anything else, but I think that's because I've looked at her books and studied them so much that I've kind of picked up the style. But yeah, I would love to meet that lady so much. And apparently she, well, probably not so much anymore, but in the height of it, she used to draw like fan requests. So you could she would draw you and like your favourite character. And my favourite character is actually Soy in the Shiki Yugi world. She is a warrior for Seiryu. I nearly said Suzaku then. Oh my goodness. It's been a while obviously since I read it. But yeah, Shiki Yugi is the story of a young girl named Miyaka and her best friend Yui, who end up being transported into another world that is very much like ancient China. They live in Japan in modern day, and they get transferred into this ancient world through a book, and it turns out that they are involved in the story, and they have to complete the story to get back home. And it is just amazing. Please watch it, read it, whichever one you'd prefer to do. Just get into it because it deserves so much more love. It was very popular when it first came out, but I was quite young when that happened. I'm a bit late, I guess, on the bandwagon. But yeah, I just wish I could meet her so badly. So yeah, those are all the authors I would love to meet. Comment down below and tell me who you'd like to meet. What do you think of my choices? Have I interested you in any of these books? Let's chat, and I'll see you later. Bye!